Welcome to Sleep Stories for Anxious Adults. Take a deep breath, get comfortable, and let's unwind together. Passenger panic attack. There's something about public transportation. I think it's the inevitable, unavoidable proximity to strangers. The way everything feels just a little more public than it should be. Like the world's personal space bubble got popped, and there's no escaping it. And when it's Monday morning, well, that's when the train ride seems to become a whole other beast. I've always had a strange relationship with my daily commute on public transportation. Some people seem to glide on and off without a care in the world, but not me. Every ride feels like a small social experiment I didn't sign up for. I know it sounds dramatic, but it's true. Every single ride. That morning, I had an extra layer of unease. It wasn't just the usual ride where you hope to get lucky and find an empty seat, or, at the very least, a seat next to someone you can pretend you didn't notice. No, this was different. It was the kind of morning where you wake up late. Your coffee machine decides to be uncooperative, and everything feels off from the second you open your eyes. I darted to the train stop, my heart racing, because I could already hear the train coming. When I finally hopped on, the usual routine began. Scan for empty seats, awkward half seats, and then there it was. The one seat next to a person. The one seat you're supposed to avoid because, for some reason, this particular stranger gives off an energy that screams, "I'm going to make you uncomfortable." But you're tired, and honestly, you just want to sit down. So you take it. You sit down, thinking it'll be fine. But it's never fine. It's never just fine. You sit down, and suddenly, the stranger next to you shifts. They shift like they've been waiting for you to do something. Waiting for you to make the first move in the social dance that is sitting on public transportation. I could feel them sizing me up, like a kind of awkward showdown where we're both waiting for the other to break the silence. So, I kept my eyes on the window, pretending to focus on the scenery I wasn't even seeing. And then the moment happened. The strange moment where the universe hits play on something you didn't ask for, but now you're stuck in. The stranger, this incredibly normal-looking person, turned to me slowly. It wasn't quick. It wasn't casual. It was intentional. They looked at me for a solid, uncomfortable beat before they finally said, "You ever wonder why we all just sit here pretending not to exist?" I froze. Not in a dramatic way, but in a "what do I say to that?" kind of way. I could feel the words catch in my throat. I mean, what do you even say to someone who looks like they're about to make eye contact with you and tell you the secret of life, all while sitting in the most uncomfortable public space known to humankind? Of course, I knew the answer. Who hasn't thought about that? It's one of those little social awkwardnesses that gnaws at the edges of your mind. Why does everyone just ignore each other on the train? Why do we all get on, sit down, and pretend not to see the person next to us, even though we're intimately close to them for the next 10 minutes? I'd thought about it. I'm sure you've thought about it. But no one ever says it. Instead, I took a deep breath. I laughed awkwardly. Yeah, you know, the daily grind. My heart was racing. My brain was scrambling for something to say. But that question kept hanging in the air, hovering between us like some invisible, unspoken challenge. They didn't smile, didn't nod, didn't respond the way a regular person might. Instead, they looked at me even more intently. It's all just a test, you know. We're all part of this grand experiment to see how long people can pretend they don't need other people. It took me a moment to process. My first instinct was to tell them they were crazy, to dismiss it and move on. But something about their tone, something about the certainty in their voice, made me hesitate. I glanced at the other passengers. They were lost in their own worlds, looking at their phones or staring out the windows, avoiding any potential social interaction like the plague. And it hit me. Maybe the stranger wasn't wrong. Maybe this whole train thing was a test of social endurance. How long could we go without breaking, without reaching out, without acknowledging the other people we were sitting so uncomfortably close to? The train rumbled along, and the stranger kept talking. I didn't even have to look at them to hear their voice. It was almost like an odd soundtrack to the ride, something that played in the background while I sat, nervously trying to think of a way out of this conversation. They went on. This train, it's like a microcosm of society. It's all part of the experiment. We're waiting to see who'll talk first, who will break the silence. I shifted uncomfortably in my seat. Was this real? Was this some weird dream? Or was I really stuck in a train with someone who was convinced we were all part of some larger, unspoken social experiment? They kept going. It's all about how long it takes for people to look up from their phones, to notice that they're not alone, that we're all in this, stuck together, waiting for the right moment to engage. Some people take years. Some people never do. By now, I was starting to get the sense that this person wasn't just talking about the train. They were talking about life, about the weird, invisible social contract that keeps everyone isolated, yet simultaneously surrounded by people. About how, in the end, we're all waiting for someone to acknowledge us, to make the first move. I wasn't sure how to respond. Was this philosophical? Or was I trapped in a strange fever dream that I'd have to explain to someone later? Just as I was about to say something, anything, the stranger fell silent. I looked at them quickly, trying to make sense of what had just been said. But they were staring out the window now, their attention shifting to something outside, something unseen. The spell had been broken. I didn't know how to feel about it. Part of me felt like I'd learned something deep and profound, some cosmic truth that might forever change the way I saw the world. The other part of me just wanted to get off the bus as quickly as possible and never look back. The train jolted to a stop, and I had my chance. I grabbed my bag, said a quick "excuse me," and bolted for the door. As I stepped off the train, I looked back to see the stranger still sitting there, now absorbed in their phone, with that same one finger texting ritual. I'll never know if what they said was true. Maybe we are all waiting for someone to acknowledge us. Maybe every train ride is just one big experiment to see how long we can all go without breaking the silence. But one thing was for sure. The next time I take the train, I'm not sitting next to anyone. Not unless they look like they're just texting and not trying to solve the meaning of life while doing it.